What is the objective of Indian Accounting Standard 37? To ensure that appropriate recognition criteria and measurement bases are applied to provisions, contingent liabilities, and contingent assets. Sufficient information is disclosed in the notes to enable users to understand the nature, timing, and amount of provisions, contingent liabilities, and contingent assets, or both of these. Answer is both of these. So इंडियन अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 37 का ऑब्जेक्टिव है कि जो भी प्रोविजंस है, कॉन्टिजेंट लायबिलिटीज है, कॉन्टिजेंट एसेट्स है, उसको कैसे रिकॉग्नाइज किया जाएगा और उसको वैल्यू कैसे मेजर किया जाएगा, एंड ऑल्सो रिगार्डिंग दीज प्रोविजंस, कॉन्टिजेंट लायबिलिटीज एंड कॉन्टिजेंट एसेट्स, नोट्स में सफिशिएंट इन्फॉर्मेशन दिया जाएगा को वो उसका नेचर क्या है, उसका टाइमिंग क्या है, कितना रखा गया है प्रोविजंस उनके लिए, वो सब डिटेल कैसे किया जाएगा. These are detailed in Indian Accounting 37. So answer is C. Friends, now we shall discuss some MCQs on Indian Accounting Standard 37 or Ind AS 37, and this Ind AS 37 is related to accounting principles on provisions, contingent assets and contingent liabilities. What is meant by provisions? Provisions is a liability of uncertain timing or amount, or provision is a present obligation of the entity arising from past events. Answer is provision is a liability of uncertain timings or amount. So जब किसी liability का timing और amount का certainty नहीं है, उसके लिए हम provision करते हैं. And option B is actually the definition of liability, not provisions. So option A is definition of provisions and option B is definition of liability. Which of the following is true for liability? It is a present obligation of the entity arising from past event. The settlement of a liability is expected to result in an outflow from the entity of resources embodying economic benefits, or both of these. Answer is both of these. So जैसे कि हमने डिस्कस किया है प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन में, लायबिलिटी इज एक्चुअली प्रेजेंट ऑब्लिगेशन ऑफ एंटिटी जो कि अराइजिंग फ्रॉम द पास्ट इवेंट्स, और जब उसको हम सेटल करेंगे तो देयर विल बी ए आउटफ्लो ऑफ फंड्स फ्रॉम द एंटिटीज रिसोर्सेस. सो आंसर इज बोथ ऑफ दिस. फ्रेंड्स, इस वीडियो के लेफ्ट बॉटम पार्ट में आपको एक लिंक मिलेगा. इस लिंक में आपने क्लिक करके ई कॉमर्स साइट जैसे कि मिंत्रा, फ्लिपकार्ट में जा सकते हैं और वहां पे सर्च करके आपका मनपसंद आइटम जैसे कि शूज हो सकता है, मोबाइल हो सकता है, ड्रेसेस हो सकता है, या एनी ऑफ द हाउस होल्ड आइटम्स आप खरीद सकते हैं विदाउट एनी एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट. एंड इफ यू विल परचेज दिस, इट विल बी अ ग्रेट सपोर्ट टू दिस चैनल. होप यू विल अवेल दिस फैसिलिटी टू सपोर्ट दिस चैनल. Which of the following is not correct on constructive obligation? From established pattern of past practice, published practices, the entity has indicated to other parties that it will accept certain responsibilities. The entity has created a valid expectation for other parties that it will discharge those responsibilities. Or constructive obligation arises from past events and its existence will be confirmed only by the occurrence or non-occurrence of uncertain future events not within the control of the entity. Answer is C is not correct, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन था व्हिच इज नॉट करेक्ट ऑन कंस्ट्रक्टिव ऑब्लिगेशन. So कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑब्लिगेशन इज एक्चुअली एंटिटी का कुछ ऑब्लिगेशन है. इट मे अराइज ड्यू टू पास्ट प्रैक्टिस और पास्ट policies, published policies, and it may be also some expectation from the parties that the entity will discharge the responsibility. So these are from established practices or published policies or actual valid expectation. So A and B is correct related to constructive obligation and C is not correct क्योंकि C is actually related to contingent liability. What is the difference between provision and liability? A provision is a liability and its occurrence of timing and amount is uncertain. A liability is a present obligation of the entity arising from past event. A provision requires a substantial degree of estimation for its amount or timing, whereas other liabilities involve less estimation and more certainty. Answer is C. So A is actually definition of provision, B is definition of liability, but C is actually difference between provision and liability. So provision actually requires करता है perfect degree of estimation कितना रखना चाहिए, whereas liability में इतना estimation जरूर नहीं है. It may not be exact the amount, but provision को हमको maximum try करना है, maximum accuracy for its estimation. Liability के लिए इतना estimation accuracy जरूरी नहीं है. So C is the difference between provision and liability, and A is the definition of provision and B is the definition of liability. When a provision shall be recognized? When an entity has a present obligation, it may be legal or constructive as a result of a past event. When it is probable that an outflow of resources will be required to settle the obligation, or a reliable estimate can be made of the amount of the obligation, or all of these. Answer is so provision is actually a present obligation due to a past event, and there must some outflow of resources if it will be settled, and also third condition is there should be a reliable estimate what amount of obligation is that. So when these three conditions are fulfilled, then only it will be treated as a provision. Friends, you may join as a member of this channel for availing various type of benefits, including watching all videos of the channel. Whether a contingent liability shall be recognized, yes or no? Answer is no. An entity shall not recognize a contingent liability. But a contingent liability can be disclosed. But there is a condition. If there is a possibility that the outflow of resources is very remote, then it will not be disclosed. But if there is a possibility that there will be outflow of resources, then it will be disclosed. But it shall not be recognized. So answer is no. A contingent asset shall be recognized, yes or no? Answer is no. Similar to contingent liability, contingent assets also shall not be recognized. क्योंकि contingent assets are actually come from unplanned or unexpected events. So उनका जो inflow of economic benefit is very remote, or there is may not be chance that it may arise or not. There is not certainty. So if it will be recognized, then there is possibility that the income may not come and the income will be overestimated. So normally contingent assets are not recognized. What amount is to be recognized as a provision to settle the present obligation? The expenditure required to settle the present obligation at the end of the reporting period, or the expenditure required to settle the present obligation at the beginning of the reporting period? Answer is A. So जो भी एक्सपेंडिचर रिक्वायर्ड होता है एट द एंड ऑफ रिपोर्टिंग पीरियड इतना ही अमाउंट रिकॉग्नाइज किया जाएगा एज ए प्रोविजन टू सेटल द present obligation. So not at the beginning of the reporting period, it is the amount required to settle at the end of the reporting period. So answer is A. Friends, this channel contains more than 500 videos containing notes and MCQs on around 75 subjects, and these notes and MCQs are very much helpful for different type of central government and state government department examinations like SS, RAE, CPD1, CPD2, CPD3, central secretary examinations, postal examinations, defense examinations, various types of department examinations, and you can get these subject wise videos in the playlist of the channel. Gains from the expected disposal of assets shall be taken into account in measuring a provision? Yes or no? आंसर इज नो। जब हम प्रोविजन के लिए मेजर करेंगे अमाउंट किसी एसेट्स का, जो अमाउंट गेन होगा इस एसेट्स का डिस्पोजल में उसको हम कंसीडर नहीं करेंगे। सो व्हाइल मेजरिंग द प्रोविजन फॉर एन एसेट, उसका एक्सपेक्टेड डिस्पोजल में जो अमाउंट आएगा उसको हम कंसीडर नहीं करके उसका प्रोविजन करेंगे। सो जो गेन होगा उसको हम कंसीडर नहीं करेंगे। सो आंसर इज नो। Which of the following are correct on reimbursement of expenditure required to settle a provision? It shall be recognized only when it is virtually certain that reimbursement will be received if the entity settles the obligation. The reimbursement shall be treated as a separate asset. The amount recognized for the reimbursement shall not exceed the amount of the provision, or all of these. Answer is all of these. So question is, suppose any प्रोविजन को सेटल करने के लिए एन अमाउंट इज यूटिलाइज्ड और वो एक्सपेंडिचर को हम रिइंबर्समेंट करेंगे, उसके लिए वो रिइंबर्समेंट हम कब रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे? जब ओनली इट इज सर्टेन दैट दिस रिइंबर्समेंट विल बी रिसीव्ड। देन सेकंड इज दिस रिइंबर्समेंट को हम एक सेपरेट एसेट के रूप में ट्रीट करेंगे और वो जो रिइंबर्समेंट का अमाउंट कितना रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे, जितना प्रोविजन किया है ओनली दैट अमाउंट विल बी रिकॉग्नाइज, उससे ज्यादा नहीं हो सकता है। सो आंसर इज ऑल ऑफ दिस। प्रोविजन शैल बी रिकॉग्नाइज्ड फॉर फ्यूचर ऑपरेटिंग लॉसेस, यस और नो? आंसर इज नो। फ्यूचर ऑपरेटिंग लॉस के लिए प्रोविजन रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं किया जाएगा, क्योंकि फ्यूचर ऑपरेटिंग लॉस को लायबिलिटी के रूप में कंसीडर नहीं किया जाता है, इसलिए उसके लिए प्रोविजन नहीं किया जाएगा। Has a contract that is onerous, the present obligation under the contract shall be recognized and measured as a provision. Is the statement correct? Yes or no? Answer is yes, the statement is correct. But before that, let us discuss what is onerous contract. So onerous contract एक ऐसे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है जिसमें कि उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का ऑब्लिगेशन को फुलफिल करने के लिए जो अनएवॉइडेबल कॉस्ट है वो उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट से जो इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट मिलेगा उससे ज्यादा हो जाता है। सो दिस इज नोन एज onerous contract. So if an entity has a contract that is onerous, so उसका जो प्रेजेंट ऑब्लिगेशन है अंडर द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट shall be recognized and measured as a provision, क्योंकि उसका जो बेनिफिट मिलेगा it is less than the unavoidable cost of the meeting of the obligation of the contract. So the statement is correct. Which of the following fall under the definition of restructuring of an entity, sale or termination of a line of business, closure of business locations in a country or relocation of business activities from one country or region to another country or region, changes in management structure, or all of these. Answer is all of these. So जब किसी एंटिटी का सेल हो जाता है या उसका जो लाइन ऑफ बिजनेस है उसको टर्मिनेट किया जाता है और उसका जो बिजनेस लोकेशन है उसको एक कंट्री से या एक रीजन से क्लोज करके दूसरा रीजन को ले जाते हैं और उसका मैनेजमेंट स्ट्रक्चर में पूरा एक्सटेंसिव चेंज होता है, तो दिस कम्स अंडर द डेफिनेशन ऑफ restructuring of an entity. So answer is all of these. Which types of expenditure shall be included for restructuring provision? Only the direct expenditure arising from the restructuring, or only the indirect expenditures arising from the restructuring, or both direct and indirect expenditures? Answer is only direct expenditures arising from the restructuring will be included for restructuring provisions. So हम indirect expenditure को नहीं लेंगे, only direct expenditure को include करेंगे for provisions. But also for direct expenditure, those expenditure which are necessarily related to restructuring and not related to ongoing activities of the entity, उस type का expenditure को हम लेंगे for restructuring provisions. Which of the following expenditure shall not be included for restructuring provision? Retraining or relocating continuing staff, marketing, investment in new systems and distribution networks, or all of these? Answer is all of these. So इनमें से किसी भी एक्सपेंडिचर को हम इंक्लूड नहीं करेंगे फॉर प्रोविजन के लिए, क्योंकि वो जो एक्सपेंडिचर है दीज आर रिलेटेड टू फ्यूचर कॉन्डक्ट ऑफ बिजनेस एंड दीज आर नॉट लायबिलिटीज, इसलिए उसको हम रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग प्रोविजन के लिए इंक्लूड नहीं करेंगे. थैंक यू. होप ये वीडियो आपका पसंद आया. इफ सो प्लीज डोंट फॉरगेट to give a like to this video. You may also join as a member of this channel to watch all videos. Thank you. Bye bye.